boys and girls. Eevee and I are here for Kitty Cat Storytime today. Today we're going to read Little Prickles. And I've never read this book before, so we are in for a treat. This story is written and illustrated by 7th grade students of Montessori Middle School in Norwalk, Connecticut. On the back it has pictures, so we can meet the authors. So these kids wrote a book. So maybe someday you can read a book just like this one. Bless you. Little Prickles. Little Prickles the porcupine cried to his mommy, "No one likes to play with me. I'm too prickly. I hate my sharp pointy quills." "Oh, my dear little Prickles, you need your quills to keep you safe," his mommy said softly. "One day they may come in handy. I think your quills will make you look quite handsome," said Mama Prickles. So little Prickles went off to another lonely day at school. Nobody would tag him when they played tag. Ouch! No one would go on the slide with him. Ouch, ouch! And he never got tapped for Duck, Duck, Goose. Ouch, ouch, ouch! Other kids weren't ducks or geese, and they got tapped. He wished he never had quills. Even Stinky the skunk was more fun to play with. At least he didn't hurt. Poor Prickles, how do you think he feels? So he sat and sulked and was very, very grumpy. When Speedy the turtle asked if he wanted to go swimming, little Prickles just grumbled, "Go away, I'm too prickly." And when Slimy the salamander asked if little Prickles wanted to play on the swings, all Slimy heard was, "Go away, I'm too prickly." And when Quackers the duck asked if he wanted to play checkers, the answer once again was, "Go away, I'm too prickly." He answered all of them without even looking up in his grumpy, grumpy voice. So he's starting to not want to play with them because he's too prickly. One day at school, Mrs. Hoot was teaching them how to write the alphabet. The best way to write, said Mrs. Hoot, is to have a nice, thin, sharp stick. If any of you have toothpicks at home, they work very well. You just dip the stick in ink and... "Wait!" screeched little Prickles. "I have tons of nice, thin, sharp quills that would work perfectly." "But you need to keep those safe, little Prickles," reminded Mrs. Hoot. "But I have so many." "It's okay, Mrs. Hoot," said little Prickles. So everyone crammed around little Prickles, but not too close. And one by one, they each pulled out one quill. Little Prickles beamed from ear to ear. And beam means he's smiling. Show me what it looks like to smile from ear to ear. A big smile, right? At home that night, Mama Prickles said, "Little Prickles, what happened to your quills? It looks like some are missing." "Oh, Mama, it was the best day at school. I gave everyone a quill to write with. They came in handy just like you said," he exclaimed. "That wasn't quite what I meant by handy, little Prickles. Your quills are an important part of you. They make you, you." The next morning at school, little Prickles heard, "I broke my quill. Can I have another? I lost my quill. Can I have another? My mommy wants one. My daddy wants one. My sister wants one." And so, one by one, little Prickles gave away more and more quills until he only had 3 quills left. What do you think is going to happen? He only has 3 quills left. By the time Mrs. Hoot arrived at the classroom, she gasped, "Little Prickles, what has happened to all your quills?" she asked in a trembling voice. "I gave them away to all my friends," little Prickles blurted out happily. "You did what?" stammered Mrs. Hoot. "But little Prickles, look at your nice pink skin. You are a very tasty meal for a hungry fox right now." In all this happiness and having new friends, little Prickles hadn't realized just how few quills he had left. He swallowed a big, lump in his throat. Uh-oh. Now he has predators and he can't protect himself because he has no more quills. What do you think, Eevee? Oh no. He sat by himself and felt scared and sad. Mrs. Hoot was right. Without his quills, he didn't feel like a porcupine. He surely would make a nice, tasty treat for a big, mean animal. Without his quills, he didn't feel like himself anymore. 2 big tears spilled down his cheeks. He really messed up. Mrs. Hoot saw his tears and spoke softly to the class. Little Prickles was very kind and generous to give everyone quills and even more quills. He shared little parts of himself with all of you. Mrs. Hoot turned to Little Prickles and said, "You don't need to give away everything that is important to you to be liked. You can be liked for who you are, quills and all. So you don't have to give everything away for people to like you." "But nobody likes me, Mrs. Hoot," cried Little Prickles. The class looked confused. Goggles, the raccoon, spoke up. "It wasn't your prickly quills that we didn't like. It was because you were always so grumpy. When we asked you to play, you always grumbled. 'Go away, I'm too prickly.' I thought nobody wanted to be near me," mumbled Little Prickles. Buzzy the bee chimed in. "Being a bee isn't easy either. I have a stinger that can hurt too. But there are lots of games I can play with my friends. We may not want to get too close to you, but we'd still like to be your friend." "You would?" asked Little Prickles. "Yes, yes, yes," yelled the whole class. Little Prickles could not stop the huge grin that appeared on his face. It felt much better to smile than to be sad and grumpy. So he didn't have to change himself at all. They liked him for who he was the whole time. "Now what are we going to do with you, Little Prickles?" asked Mrs. Hoot, looking at his big pink tummy. Little Prickles' classmates knew exactly what to do. What do you think they're going to do? From that day on, they promised to keep Little Prickles safe until his new prickles grew back. Every day they formed a little circle around Little Prickles and walked him all the way home to safety. And Little Prickles happily joined in all the games he could play with his friends. Well, his friends kept him safe. It took a while for Little Prickles' quills to grow back. When he looked like a porcupine again, Mama Prickles said, "Little Prickles, I have something for you." She plucked a quill from her own side and said, "Take this and use it wisely. Every time you write with it, remember, it's what makes you special." Little Prickles carried the quill safely to school, and on the top of every paper he wrote, "I am Little Prickles, quills and all." That was a sweet book. It explained how you don't have to change everything about yourself in order for people to like you. People like you for who you are. The way you look, the way you behave, the way you act, they like you for those things. What they don't like is when you have a grumpy attitude, right? You have to try to be nice and friendly, and people will still like you for who you are. That was a sweet book. Thanks for reading that with us today. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.